used to call me Crazy Joe. Well, now they can call me Batman.
Good morning. Welcome back to Crazy Joe's Concession Stand. I'm Crazy Joe, and today I want to talk about a little misnomer that's out there, something that you hear all the time that isn't even remotely true. One thing that we're constantly hearing, there's a lot of reboots, remakes, a lot of movies based on comic books, a lot of sequels. And every time a movie gets rebooted or we get a new version of something old or they bring something back from the past, for example, The Naked Gun just came back. And one thing we always hear is, well, Hollywood's out of ideas. Hollywood is creatively bankrupt. There's no new ideas out there. And this is not even remotely true. And if audiences want originality, they really have no one to blame but themselves. Now, the reason I bring that up is if you look at all the movies that come out in a given year, there are far, far more original films, brand new, non-IP films that come out in a given year than there are remakes or sequels. This is true. All you have to do is pull out your phone, go see what's playing at your local theater, and you'll find there is, keep in mind, hundreds of movies come out a year. And if you check and see what's playing down at your local theater, you'll find that there is a great variety of films out there. The question is, what are you paying to see? That's the question. What are you paying to see? Now, for example, I would like to point out the domestic box office totals for 2024. And I'm going to, if you are watching on the video, by the way, I should point out that this is the Dog Days of Podcasting. For those of you who don't know what the Dog Days of Podcasting is, this is when a group of podcasters try to do a podcast today for the month of August. And I'm doing this both on the audio podcast, but also on my YouTube channel, Crazy Joe's Concession Stand. So if you're watching on my YouTube channel, you will have visuals, but you don't need to be. I'll read it all out to you. So if you're not watching visually, you will hear this on the audio podcast as well. There's also, if you go to dogdaysofpodcasting.com, there's a mega feed where you can listen to all the participants and hear what everybody is doing. And there's a lot of great participants. I highly recommend checking out that mega feed if you can. Go to dogdaysofpodcasting.com. But anyway, here is the domestic box office for 2024. Now let's take a look at what everybody paid to see in 2024. All right, starting at number 1, we have Inside Out 2, a sequel. At number 2, we have Deadpool and Wolverine, a sequel. At number 3, we have Wicked, which is an adaptation of a Broadway show, which is itself a prequel to a classic IP movie, Wizard of Oz. Number 4, we have a sequel, Moana 2. At number 5, we have a sequel, Despicable Me 4. At number 6, we have a sequel, Beetlejuice. At number 7, we have a sequel, Dune Part 2, which technically, I don't know if you count that as a sequel because it is actually part 2 of an adaptation of a book, but that book is a classic IP that has been translated to movies before and television miniseries before. So this is something that's been done before. It is a known IP. At number 8, we have Twisters, which is a sequel to 1996's Twister. At number 9, we have Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. At number 10, Kung Fu Panda 4, a sequel. At number 11, Bad Boys Ride or Die, which is the 4th film in the Bad Boys franchise, a sequel. At number 12, we have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is both a prequel and a sequel. It's a prequel to the original 1969 Planet of the Apes and a sequel to the last 3 Planet of the Apes prequels. At number 13, we have Gladiator 2, which is a sequel. At number 14, we have Sonic the Hedgehog 3, a sequel. And at number 15, It Ends With Us. It Ends With Us. Number 16 is The Wild Robot, which is based on a book, but it's a new franchise that has never been adapted to the screen before. Number 17 is Venom 3, The Last Dance, a sequel. 18 is Quiet Place Day 1, a prequel. Number 19 is Mufasa the Lion King, a prequel. And number 20 is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. a sequel. Oh, and you know, I said top 20, but just for good measure, at 21, we have the John Krasinski film If, which is an original property. So let's take a look at that there. In the top, I gave you the top 21. I didn't even give you the top 20. I gave you the top 21. And in the top 21, we have two films that are wholly original, If and It Ends With Us. And number 16 is The Wild Robot, which is an adaptation of a book, but it's an adaptation that hasn't been done before. So I guess we can count that as original. So for 21 films, 3 of them are original. Now, keep in mind, I said there are a lot of original films that come out in a given year. In 2024, we had a lot of original films. Heretic with Hugh Grant. Excellent film, one of the year's best original film. We had Nora, which won Best Picture. Notice Nora, the Best Picture winner of the year, did not pop up in the top 21. Late Night with the Devil was one of my favorite films that year. That doesn't show up there. I saw The TV Glow, which is a weird little indie film that I really liked. Very divisive film, though. Not everyone's going to love that. You don't see that showing up in the top 20. Another film I really liked was My Old Ass. You don't see that showing up in the top 20. The point is, there were plenty of original films that are not an existing IP that came out in 2024. There were a lot of them. Every week, just about every week, something new was playing at your local theater that wasn't a reboot or a remake of something that you've seen before. But this is what the American public went out and chose to spend their money on. Now, I'm not criticizing going to see Deadpool and Wolverine. I enjoyed it. Wicked, I enjoyed it. I mean, I saw all these movies. I went and saw just about every one of these movies in the theater. I mean, there may be one or two that I didn't catch. I didn't see Twisters. I hate Twister 1. I didn't like the original Twister from 96. Hated that film. So, no, I did not go out and see Twisters. No desire to see a sequel to a film I hated from 30 years ago. But most of these films I did see. So, you know, there's no disrespect there, but I go to the movies multiple times a week. 2-3 times a week, maybe more. So I saw just about everything last year. I went out and saw just about everything. Not everyone did. Not everyone did. So when this is what the American public is spending their money on, of course, the concentration from the marketing standpoint is going to be on sequels, remakes, and existing IP, because that is where the money is. And the American public has no one to blame but themselves. Now, I always talk to people who say, oh, there's nothing new out there. There's nothing good new. And when I tell them all the new things that are out there, do you know what they say to me? I've had people say this to me. I swear to God, this is true. They'll be like, well, there's nothing new out. And when I tell them all the new things, they'll say, yeah, but none of that's good. None of that is good. And then I'll say, did you see it? Well, no, I'm not going to waste my money because it sucks. Huh? I'm not going to waste my money on the thing that I didn't see because it sucks. What kind of logic is that? And where are you getting that the thing you didn't see sucks? I mean, you just said you didn't see it. You just said you didn't see it. Where's this? It hurts your brain. But this is where we are. This is where the box office is. People only want to pay to see the big, splashy IPs. And then they complain that there's nothing new out there. But when something new is provided to them, they reject it. I don't know how you move forward from that. I don't know what you do. This year at the box office, we've had a lot of really good films that are original films. There's a film that came out this year called, in 2025, there's a film that came out called The Luckiest Man in America. It's the true story, you may have heard the story, of a man who in the 80s figured out a way to game the system on the game show Pressure Luck. He figured out patterns in the board and was able to win more money on a daytime game show than ever before. True story. That movie came out this year. It was excellent. I don't know anyone who saw it aside from me. I've talked to people. None of my friends have seen it. I keep recommending it to people. I keep saying, you got to watch The Luckiest Man in America. It played in theaters. It's going now. I mean, this was like months ago. It's now available on PVOD. You can rent that and watch it wherever you watch digital movies. And I highly recommend it. Nobody went to see that. There's a new movie out, and it's doing okay. There's a new movie called Weapons that's playing right now. Now, this year we did have a surprise. There was one original IP, not a sequel, not a remake, that kind of took the country by storm, and that was the movie Sinners, the vampire movie starring Michael B. Jordan. And that's a surprise. Why did people embrace that film? I don't know, but they did. And that's encouraging because it's good to see something original get embraced by the public, but it's so few and far between. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there for today. But my point is, if somebody says to you, there's nothing new, Hollywood is out of ideas, they're creatively bankrupt, you can ask them, what's the last original movie you went to the box office that you paid to see? And if they say, well, if they can't remember, if they can't tell you the last original film that was not part of an IP that they paid their money to go see in a theater, then you could say to them, there you go. Go support original movies with your dollars if you want to see more of those movies made. And there's a lot of them made. They're not getting the traction they deserve. A good example, I saw that list. There were several animated films on there. We had Inside Out 2. We had Despicable Me 4. We had Moana 2. All sequels. Now this year, Pixar put out an original animated film called Elio. Nobody went to see Elio. It wasn't a sequel. Nobody went to see it. What are you going to do? It's not that they're not making them. It's not that they're not making them, but you got to support them. All right, everybody. Keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas
with the plastic feet.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Tell everyone you meet.
Keep wearing those pajamas
with the back door flap.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Don't open it, it's a trap.
Oh no,
it's a trap. Some people call them PJs, some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander pajamas, but no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
I know we're having fun.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
And now the song is done.